Once a Hollywood golden boy, Dennis Quaid dazzled in films like Breaking Away, 1979, and The Right Stuff, 1983, earning critical acclaim. Yet by the mid-1990s, his star began to dim. After shedding 40 pounds for Wyatt Earp, 1994, he battled anorexia, a haunting shadow over his career. Both Quaid and his brother Randy portrayed Doc Holliday Dennis in 1994, Randy in 1999, a family legacy etched. Despite Oscar nods and a diverse filmography, Quaid's mainstream presence faded. What forces eclipsed his light? In the humid heart of Houston, Texas, on April 9, 1954, Dennis William Quaid was born into a world of modest dreams and electric storms. His father, William Rudy Quaid, an electrician with calloused hands, and his mother, Juanita Nita Quaid, a real estate agent with a voice like a southern hymn, raised Dennis and his younger brother, Randy, in the leafy suburb of Bel Air. The Quaid boys grew up in a Baptist household where drama unfolded not just in church plays, but in the fierce, unspoken rivalry that crackled between them, a rivalry that would shape Dennis's destiny. While Randy carved his path in local theater, Dennis rebelled, trading textbooks for the spotlight. By 19, he abandoned the University of Houston, chasing a mirage of Hollywood under the California sun. But Randy followed, their bond fraying into competition. The ultimate duel came in the 1990s. Dennis, gaunt and fever-eyed, shed 40 pounds to embody Doc Holliday in Wyatt Earp, 1994, a role that left him staring at a ghost in the mirror, 138 pounds, yet still seeing a 180-pound man. Randy, years later, would play the same role in Purgatory, 1999, as if the brothers were trapped in a loop of one-upmanship. But Dennis's early career soared before the shadows fell. By 1979, he lit up screens in Breaking Away, a film nominated for Best Picture, his boyish charm masking the hunger to outrun his brother's shadow. The rivalry became a crucible, forging a star who'd later soar in The Right Stuff, 1983, yet always carry the scars of the race he couldn't quit. By the dawn of the 1980s, Dennis Quaid had already tasted success, but the decade ahead would forge his legend. Fresh off his Oscar-nominated role in Breaking Away, 1979, Quaid became Hollywood's quintessential golden boy, charismatic, magnetic, and effortlessly versatile. He soared as the cocky pilot Chuck Yeager in The Right Stuff, 1983, a role that etched his name into cinematic history, and smoldered as the romantic lead in The Big Easy, 1986, where he wrote songs for the soundtrack, proving his artistry extended beyond the screen. Yet beneath the glamour, storms brewed. The 1990s tested Quaid like never before. To embody the gaunt, fever-eyed Doc Holliday in Wyatt Earp, 1994, he shed 40 pounds, plunging into anorexia, staring at a mirror that lied, seeing a ghost of his former self at 138 pounds. I'd look in the mirror and still see 180 pounds. I'd look in the mirror and still... Goo, he'd professed. The same decade saw his marriage to Meg Ryan unravel, culminating in their 2000 separation, a heartbreak that played out under the glare of tabloid lights. But Quaid, resilient as the Texas plains he hailed from, refused to fade. He reclaimed his strength, both physical and artistic, and by the 2000s he was reborn. A gritty turn in Traffic, 2000, earned him another Best Picture nomination, a testament to his range. He shared the screen with his brother Randy in a strange twist of fate. Both had played Doc Holliday in different films. Dennis in Wyatt Earp, 1994, Randy in Purgatory, 1999, a family legacy carved in celluloid. Through addiction, loss, and reinvention, Quaid emerged not just a survivor, but a craftsman who'd mastered the art of comeback. By 2001, as he finalized his divorce and watched his son Jack grow, Quaid stood at the peak again, a star who'd touched the sky, crashed through the clouds, and risen to stardom anew. The mid-1990s brought a battle that nearly unraveled Dennis Quaid from within. To embody the gaunt, consumptive tuberculosis sufferer Doc Holliday in Wyatt Earp, 1994, he shed 40 pounds, dropping to a skeletal 138. But the weight loss spiraled into anorexia. "I'd look in the mirror and still see a 180-pound guy," he confessed, trapped in a distorted reality. The obsession with control consumed him until he sought treatment, emerging scarred but alive. Years later, the ghosts of that struggle lingered, a silent echo in his reflection. His personal life mirrored this turbulence. On June 28, 2000, his marriage to Meg Ryan fractured. The split formalized a year later with custody arrangements for their son Jack and the division of belongings as cold as the pages of their divorce decree. Yet tragedy often circles the Quaid name. His brother Randy, too, had played Doc Holliday in Purgatory 1999, a role that seemed to haunt their bloodline. Dennis's turbulence, both self-inflicted and thrust upon him, painted a man perpetually at war with shadows, searching for light in the wreckage. By the mid-1990s, the weight of transformation had become unbearable. To embody the consumptive ghost of Doc Holliday in Wyatt Earp, 1994, Dennis Quaid had carved his frame down to 138 pounds, a gaunt silhouette staring back from mirrors he could no longer trust. "I'd look in the mirror and still see a 180-pound guy," he confessed, trapped in a labyrinth of perception that nearly cost him everything. The anorexia diagnosis marked a silent unraveling, one that pulled him from the feverish pace of Hollywood. As he fought to reclaim his health, the world watched a star dimmed by invisible battles. But the shadows deepened further when, in June 2000, his marriage to Meg Ryan, a union that had defined a golden era of tabloid romance, fractured. By July 2001, divorce papers were finalized, severing ties with the actress who once stood beside him at premieres, leaving him adrift in a life now stripped of its familiar anchors. The spotlight, once relentless, began to waver. Quaid retreated, trading red carpets for the cockpit of his Cessna Citation 500, piloting the twin-engine jet towards solitude in Montana's wide, quiet skies. He found refuge in rhythm and rhyme, fronting Dennis Quaid and the Sharks, where he tore through blues rock anthems barefoot, the stage beneath him as grounding as the earth itself. Yet the specter of his past lingered. In Purgatory 1999, his brother Randy had donned the same Doc Holliday persona, a grim echo of the role that had nearly destroyed Dennis. It was as if the Quaid name was cursed to circle the same mythic fire, forever tethered to the edge of oblivion. By the mid-2000s, Dennis Quaid became a phantom in the industry, his face absent from marquees, his name whispered more than seen. When he did return to screens, it was in fragments, supporting roles, indie projects, a cameo in Traffic 2000 that hinted at his lingering magnetism. But the man who once soared alongside The Right Stuff, 1983, had chosen grounding. His wings now folded in the hush of self-preservation. The shadows of the mid-1990s still linger in Dennis Quaid's memory, a time when the pursuit of perfection nearly consumed him. To portray the frail, tuberculosis-ridden Doc Holliday in Wyatt Earp, 1994, he shed 40 pounds, dropping to a skeletal 138. Even as the camera captured his gaunt visage, Quaid saw a phantom in the mirror, a 180-pound man who refused to vanish. The anorexia that followed was a silent war, fought in the glare of Hollywood's spotlight. Yet, from that crucible, emerged a man unafraid to redefine himself. By the dawn of the 21st century, Quaid had traded the scales of obsession for the open skies above Montana, where he now pilots his Cessna Citation 500 like a modern-day Icarus, soaring but never too close to the sun. His hands, once trembling from deprivation, now grip the controls of a twin-engine jet, carving paths over the Rockies where the air is thin but the spirit is boundless. But reinvention for Quaid is not merely a solo flight. In the rhythm of his life, family echoes like a recurring motif. His brother Randy, too, donned Doc Holliday's frayed coat in Purgatory 1999, turning the role into a shared elegy for two actors bound by blood and myth. Together, they became twin ghosts of the Old West, each haunting the same legend from different angles. Yet Dennis's truest symphony plays in the unscripted moments. On stage with his band, the Sharks, where he kicks off his boots to feel the raw pulse of the earth beneath bare feet, or in the quiet of his Montana retreat, where the roar of engines fades into the whisper of pine winds. The Substance 2024, his fourth dance with an Oscar-nominated Best Picture, proves that at 70, Quaid's fire still burns. He is no longer the gaunt figure of the 90s, but a man who has learned to wear his scars like a second skin, weathered, wise, and forever chasing horizons. Dennis Quaid's journey is a tapestry woven with brilliance and shadow. In the glow of his prime, he stood among Hollywood's most magnetic, nominated for Oscars alongside legends in Breaking Away, The Right Stuff, and Traffic, each role a testament to his chameleon-like genius. Yet the man who could vanish into characters could not escape himself. The gaunt figure he carved from his own flesh to play Doc Holliday in Wyatt Earp, 1994, became a prison. "I saw a ghost in the mirror," he confessed, trapped in a cycle of anorexia that nearly stole him from the world he illuminated. But Quaid soared beyond the wreckage. He reclaimed his body, his passions, taking to the skies as a pilot, steering his Cessna Citation toward Montana's solace, and returning to music, barefoot on stage, as if grounding himself in the raw, unfiltered joy of creation. His legacy thrives in paradox. A man who wrote the soundtrack to The Big Easy yet struggled with life's dissonant notes. His divorce from Meg Ryan in 2001, a quiet rupture etched in legal finality, mirrored the fractures fame can rot. Today, Quaid endures, a nominee again for the Substance 2024, proof that artistry outlives folly. His brother Randy once played the same Doc Holliday role, a family echo of the demons and devotion that define a performer. Quaid's story is not one of ruin, but of resilience, a man who flew too close to darkness, yet found his way back, 1 mile at a time.